Well, happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. It's always happy, right? When the week says. So, here we are at the beginning of the week. Because of something that some Roman said. Or, some whatever said some 1,000 years ago, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. They're all like kind of Greekish, Etruscan, Roman gods. And it's kind of true, I guess, in its way. They observe the times and the seasons. Yeah, why would they not? And so they said that this might be the alright thing to measure everything by, based on the moon and the sun. All that wonderful stuff that says, there is some other purple stuffs here. During the period, oh yeah, maintenance. Okay, well, yeah, so like the moon and the sun dictate our lives, right? And so thereby, as the natives did it lived out under them forever, seemingly for them, they did their due, and they created all these wonderful, wonderful things. That happened to just fall right under the moon and sun, which of course they did because that's what they're based on. But like humanity, people, being, doesn't seem to like it. I mean, it doesn't seem to take it up. It doesn't seem to want to play by those rules because it keeps trying to buck against them. It keeps trying to just fight and fight and fight and be something else. So, how can it be fixed? That's the kind of the question. Of course, people live by the moon and the sun, but whenever the whole earth is the opposite, I mean, like where I live, when it's 12 noon here, it is absolutely the witching hour, midnight in Japan. It's like, but so many people live their lives by, in Japan, they live their lives by what they buy over here. And over here, I personally live my life by what they create over there. And China, China's kind of the same way. All those people, a lot of people in China, they kind of do what they do as well, and people do what they do over here. And a lot of times the Chinese serve what people do over here, but there are so many things. I mean, people kind of live their lives here based on what the Chinese do, definitely, because the Chinese make so many things. So, like, how do you reconcile it all? Because people do so many things over there, people do so many things over here, and people just have so many different religious views. You know, religion, of course, is one of the big quote-unquote controllers for all things, because, you know, people just love their gods, right? I mean, I guess because the gods just fight and fight. That seems to be the, you know, I mean, maybe the Greeks and the Romans had it right, you know. I've read a lot about that, and the Greeks and the Roman gods, you know, they just fight and they fight and they fight, apparently, and that would seem to be the true religion to me. I mean, you know, if one were to, you know, pick a true religion, there are a lot of Japanese gods too and Chinese gods, but you know. Well, you know, like India. Well, I mean, you know, like the Indian gods, I mean, they eventually acknowledged that, you know, their gods are, you know, either, smart. Like, either their gods are so brilliant that they can acquiesce to all the gods, you know, and they eventually agreed and were like, okay, so be it. To preserve our worship, we must do these things or they're just not there. You know, but it seems like Western people refuse to accept this. So they're like, it's very complicated. It's very complicated. I think I had it for a little while, but maybe it's starting to disappear now. But still, yeah, you know, I mean, that's kind of what happened, you know. I mean, why would they do? I mean, who are the Western gods, you know? Like, well, you got Zeus and the Romans, and of course, they're okay with all the stuffs. But what are the Jesus Christ? That's one of the big Western gods. And the Jew god, Yahweh or whatever you want to call it. You know, the first being Yahweh. But I think most Jews acknowledge now that, you know, even their God, Yahweh, is, either just a figment of creation, their own creation, or, you know, maybe some being that happened and is extremely intelligent and controlled a lot of stuff, right? I mean, that's what, I mean, I've listened to a lot of Jews speak, like Hebrews, or whatever you want to call the seed of Abraham talk. And they, they're pretty intelligent. I think a lot of them, they kind of tend to agree, or at least they talk like they do, that maybe the very Orthodox Jews, but why? It's very complicated, isn't it? The God of the Hebrews, Yahweh, chose that people to inherit that land. Why? Why? My guess would be, I mean, if you take it from a real standpoint, like the standpoint of reality, then there was a lot of murder, basically. And like some of the people that came before, that could influence reality, didn't like, the amount of their offspring that were being killed. So, like, can't really blame them for that. Yeah, so like a bunch of people over in, the birthplaces of humanity were being just slaughtered somehow, and we're killing each other, and of course nobody liked that, and so people had to make that not happen. So of course it stopped happening, kind of, because people wanted to not die. Of course, didn't want their offspring to die. Didn't want whole civilizations to die. So here we are today with, billions of people killing themselves, people killing the world, and trying to make things not exist, seemingly, just by their sheer beliefs in what, their gods, or their philosophy, or their way of life. That seems to be kind of a way, people believe that their way is best. On this side, on that side, And so, of course, they fight and fight and fight to get their way to be why. To get their way to be why. To get their way to be because. Right? To get their way to be because. To get their way to be the way. They want their way to be the way. They want their way to be the greatest. They want to have the most things. Why? Because everybody likes things, you know. I mean, it goes back to like, and then I have to jump back to like Judaism and Islam and all of these things. They want their way to be the because. They want their way to be the why. They want their way to be the stuff. Why? And again, it's dancing around why and because, you know? Like, why and because. Why and because. Because? Because why? Why? Because. I mean, you know, again, it's like +1 +0. Maybe, you know, because everybody needs something to believe in. Because, of course, once you're, maybe a 2-year-old, 3-year-old, if, you know, another 2 or 3-year-old doesn't acquiesce to your desire, then you either got to beat them up, right? Is that wrong? Or acquiesce, you know? I mean, like, some other 2-year-old wants your toy, you know, they got to give the toy, defend your toy, or, you know, beat them up. And if they have a toy, you got to take their toy. And that's humanity. That is humanity. I mean, I'm so sorry to say, my face is shamed to say, but that's humanity. That is it, you know. I mean, if the toy is good, you know, you won't, yeah, contradict me. There's no contradiction to be had there, because that is absolute truth. So, like, somebody's got to acquiesce, and somebody's got to give in. Somebody's got to die, and somebody's got to live, you know. I mean, or somebody's got to have, or somebody has to not have. So, yeah, well, there it is. There's conservation and libertarianism. Whatever. Yeah, that's what it is. So we all want, right? I mean, everybody wants. I mean, it'd be nice to not have to pay for gas. I mean, but like somebody, and that's a lot of what it's based on, you know, like gas prices, conservation, conservatism, liberalism. I mean, after the God thing, because somebody wants more God, right? They want God. I want God to prove, are you hearing me? You hear me? Like, I want God to do more than for God. So, like, is that not truth? Is that not absolute truth? Like, God, right? God wants everything. Yeah, God wants absolute worship. And somebody says, I don't want to worship God, or I will worship you eternally. But somebody else, once there are three things, right? Like, well, maybe I'll take a little more worship than God, the big old God, and I'm just gonna take that for me. Or not. Um, well, you can have that little bit of worship, but I'm gonna take their hair. I'm gonna take their being. I'm gonna take their warrior-like skill. You know, I'm gonna take their virginity. I was there. I took all from God there. And then God gave me all the things. Yeah, but there were three, so one was left out at some point. So, like, well, there's your conservative liberalism or liberal conservatism, and that's about the way it goes. I mean, am I right? Did that not make you feel something? Made you feel something, right? I mean, if you can hear it, if you heard it, you know, it's like it's gonna make you feel something because that's what it is. And then it's like, well, I got all this from this individual. They had the gas. They had the wheat. They had, you see what I'm saying? Of course you do. And so it's just spiraled down from there. They had all the grapes, so of course, yeah, well, he's got all the grapes. He's already doing what he needs to do from here. Because they had the other thing, and so it was already. Yeah, you see, no. Okay, yeah, you see, but do you understand? Well, I need to do roulette now, I guess. Maybe I should just, like, jump off here. Or maybe do a roulette at this point, and, I mean, because yeah, that's liberalism, conservatism. That's why there are so many people vying for leadership, you know. Right there, because somebody wants control, because they think that they control the grapevine, because they think that they control the virgins, because they think that they control life, because they think that they control happiness, in fact. And they think that they can make more people happy. Well, sometimes it's because they think that they make more people sad. They think that they control virginity and fruit, vegetables, and nature to the point where they just can make the most people happy. That's what it is. I mean, it's like fruit, vegetables, virginity, that might be all of it. I mean, it's like virginity, fruit, vegetables. Creation. I mean, Thomas Edison, he controlled so much. He did so much. He created a lot of stuff, or at least led people in the direction of creation, which is maybe better than actually making the stuff, because if you can make people make things, that might be better than making them yourself. I mean, if you can force some smart individual to like create something that they wouldn't have created otherwise, then that might be, better than actually making it yourself. So it's like, who knows, It might be better. Like if you can control all things, like the freaking world, and you catch someone that can make things, but they won't make things unless you like take things from them, then maybe that's the best thing. So again, it's still conservative liberalism. So there's an excuse though. It can be an excuse. Well, there's complication. Yeah, there is an excuse. It can be an excuse and a reason, I suppose. Yeah, I mean, it's still there. An excuse and a reason. I've got to go to work. Well, I mean, kind of, I hope you haven't learned anything, and kind of, I hope you've learned something. Bye-bye.